Good day. The Punisher is one of Marvel's more controversial, smart superheroes. He has found some success on the big screen and a decent amount of success on the small screen. There have been a number of video games based upon him. Notably, Volition made a game where you got to torture people. Ouch. But today, we're taking a look at the original. Today, we're taking a look at Punisher, the arcade game.
The Punisher was developed and published by Capcom and released to arcades in 1993. Later, it would get a console port for the Sega Genesis in 1994. This is the arcade version being played on MAME. Punisher, the arcade game, is a two-player co-op beat-em-up where player 1 is Frank Castle, aka The Punisher, and player 2 is Nick Fury. My younger fans may be a bit confused as to why Agent Fury does not look like Samuel L. Jackson. It would not be until the early 2000s that Nick Fury would be fantasy cast as Mr. Jackson, and even then that would only be in the Ultimate Marvel line of comics. We would not see the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. portrayed by Mr. Jackson on the big screen until 2010's Iron Man 2. Funny enough, in the pre-MCU days, Nicholas Fury got his own made-for-TV movie that was remarkably not terrible. He was played by David Hasselhoff. But enough of this waffle. How fun is the killing? The punishing. Capcom beat-em-ups were, as the kids like to say, built different. Would that be programmed different? Whatever. Capcom beat-em-ups were a different type of beat-em-up from the others. Their gameplay was smoother and more visceral, despite being only a two-button affair like so many others. When you punch someone as the Punisher, you positively feel that blow, and you have, so many frames of beat-em-up goodness. It's beautiful! Now this might come as a surprise, but Frank and Nick kill people. Wait, that's not a surprise. In Capcom beat-em-ups, you get all kinds of power-ups, and in this game, Frank and Nick get to shoot, stab, blow up, and smack over the head with an oil drum thugs from one side of the city to the other. It's the sheer number of pickups that really gives this game that Capcom punch. In addition to this, you can also pull off a super move where your character performs a screen-clearing attack and also shouts a war cry. Sadly, like any good quarter muncher, every time your dude pulls off your Ahu super move, you lose some health. Nothing a little 5 key can't solve these days, though. You got some good enemy variety and a bunch of cool bosses. Frank and Nick even get to fight a Silver Age robot. Stage design is really quite good, and this is from a time when Capcom ensured that beating up waves of bad guys never got old, and none of the stages feel like a slog, and the game never outstays its welcome. This game is not too terribly hard. It certainly is not as bad as an SNK game or X-Men by Konami. You could probably finish this for less than $20 in real life. If you want to play a kick-ass co-op beat-em-up, The Punisher has got you covered. I personally never played this game in real life, and I never even heard of it until 2009, when I started playing the then old, now ancient arcade games of the 1990s. I was blown away by how fun this was. Capcom got the very feel of a beat-em-up right, and it's a very cathartic experience that pulls you into the whole bloody game. The footage we are looking at here was recorded way back in 2011. Myself and a friend at the time played this game with MAME online via the Kelly-era net client. There was some lag, but it was playable enough. In 2011, it was amazing to be able to play a game from 1993 via the Internet. What's even cooler is that said friend that I played this game with was in the Balkans at the time. Truly, we live in an age of wonders. That friend had actually played the game in real life while visiting Bulgaria, which I thought was neat both then and now. Graphically, this game is a work of art. Capcom were the masters of arcade graphics. Remember, this is 1993 we are talking about. The sprites are huge and detailed, the backgrounds are absolutely filled to the brim with details, and the animations are extremely fluid. There are cutscenes in the game, and they hold up pretty well too. This was what got people to keep shoving quarters in by the bucket load. Sound is also quite good, and we got a few voice clips that, while heavily compressed, are still recognizable as human speech. The punches and kicks and explosions all sound amazing, and the music is alright. Not quite as good as some of Capcom's other works, but serviceable enough. Sadly, it does not transcend the game. Capcom beat-em-ups had extensive stories, and the story here is like a comic book come to life. The story is your Punisher staple. Frankie and Nikki gotta team up to take down the Kingpin. I found this kind of weird because I always associated Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, with Spider-Man and other street-level heroes, but whatever. As you go through the game, Frank and Nick banter back and forth, and Frank blasts a bastard and Nick complains about it. Fun stuff. Your final boss fight is with the body positivity consultant, Wilson Fisk, and the boss battle is great fun, and the story ends with Kingpin's body not being found in the rubble, leaving open the possibility of a sequel. That sadly never came about, and I hope never comes about, as a modern game would be too self-aware and ironic to be as good as this game. The Punisher arcade game comes from a time where developers made games fun, but were serious at the same time and never tried to be Meta Man about it. This is a game that fully embraces the Bronze Age roots of the comic it is based upon. You have a violent vigilante and a super spy teaming up to take down a crime boss that has regular thugs, ninjas, cyborgs, and robots. And the game never lampshades it, it never rolls its eyes at it, it respects it and gives you the player an experience worth remembering.
If it's been about 10 years since you booted up the Punisher, it's time to welcome back Frank and have some fun. And so, I'm General Lotz, wishing you good Dungeons & Dragons, the Tower of Doom, and good Cadillacs and dinosaurs, or whatever makes you happy.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and please consider leaving a like or a comment, as the algorithm desires your soul. And I want to thank all those fans who have supported this channel, both past and present.